If someone had told pro wrestling fans in 1999 that WCW and ECW would effectively be boiled down into factions on WWF television 2 years later, they'd have been laughed at probably. But business moves fast. That phrase also sums up the general feeling when poring over all 52 episodes of SmackDown from 2001. So I'm Gareth, this is What Culture Wrestling, and here are 10 things you learn binge watching every WWE SmackDown from 2001. Number 10, the new set was instantly iconic. When people think of SmackDown, they think of this very set. That's a generational thing, of course, but the classic fist look has become synonymous with the Blue brand's identity, despite only being around for approximately 7 years. People still talk about it now, which says everything. Younger folks are probably bored of oldies talking about it, but they will never stop. The WWF changed from the Ovaltron to the fist look starting with the 16th of August 2001 episode. Salt Lake City had the pleasure of seeing it first, which is a nice little bit of trivia you can feel free to use with your wrestling pals. This show also took place just days before SummerSlam 2001, so management clearly weren't in the mood to wait until after a major pay-per-view. It was a vast, immediate improvement when binging, and the same could be said for some of the snazzy new graphics that flashed up on screen too. Now I want to know, what is your favourite wrestling set ever? Is it the big old fist or something else? You let me know in the comment section down below. Number 9, WWF booked a cool reason to change. This is something so many folks forget. Rhino was technically responsible for the aforementioned set change when he speared/gored Chris Jericho through the old entrance props on the 9th of August episode. His Wrecking Ball Carnage was a neat way to destroy the old set and usher in a totally new one the next week. So there you go, on TV it was Rhino who changed SmackDown history for the better. Thank you, sweet prince. Jericho's bump is kind of funny to look back on now too. The spear revealed that the set's centerpiece was just a tarp with some graphics projected onto it. It was nothing fancy at all, and certainly nothing as high-tech as what fans would expect today. In fact, it's almost charming how crap the whole thing was beneath all the flashing lights. Number 8, one of the best WCW title matches ever. Seeing WCW become a focal point on WWF television remains weird to watch to this day, but you've got to roll with it if you want to glean any enjoyment from the summer months. Thankfully, Booker T and Kurt Angle came along to remind everyone just how great they both were in ring during their respective primes. That pairing worked one hell of a WCW World title bout on the 26th of July SmackDown. There, a few days after Invasion, Angle beat Booker to bag the belt. Michael Cole and Jim Ross were phenomenal on commentary together. Honestly, I wish we'd heard more from them as a duo, and the live crowd was hot for a title switch. And oh, they got one, baby. Alliance and WWF locker rooms emptied for a big ringside brawl, and Stone Cold got involved near the finish. Absolutely all of it clicked and made for one seriously fun match that once again proved why Book was there to stay in the company. Actually, here's something else about that. Number 7, Booker T equals year-end MVP. Some of Booker's performances were unreal. That match versus Kurt Angle is a great example. His general freshness and vibe added so much to this product. A well-worked supermarket brawl with Austin on the 13th of December episode became one of the most cherished skits in SmackDown history. But the second half of Book's 2001 was more than that. He turned in some MVP showings on the Blue brand, and that deserves more recognition. It didn't matter whether the promotion asked Booker to wrestle epic matches or make people laugh. He could do all of it, baby. That range helped him quickly bed in when other ex-WCW stars floundered. It cannot have been easy given all the upheaval. It's also important to applaud Book for matching the WWF's top names, and working with the likes of Angle, The Rock, and Stone Cold must have been a real thrill for someone who had been turned back into G.I. Bro on WCW television the year prior. Number 6, Kurt Angle could have been bigger as a babyface. Some out there might trick themselves into thinking Kurt Angle only got over as a babyface due to the widespread patriotism post 9/11, but that is wide of the mark. The truth is, he was over as a baby months before that, but the WWF never really seemed comfortable pushing him as the top good guy on the roster. Creative could have done more with him, to be honest. Angle toned down his goofiest character traits to exhibit a serious badass athlete persona, and people were super into it. Crowds popped huge for his ankle lock finish, and Angle, Angle, Angle chants were booming when reliving some episodes. Honestly, they were loud. It's fun to imagine what might have been possible had the writers continued exploring Kurt Angle top babyface in 2001. Credit must also go to Kurt for slotting right back into into a heel role once the WWF got bored of his American hero act and reverted to type. He did not miss a step. What a pro. Cheers for checking out this video today, folks. Hit that subscribe button down below for more of this What Culture Wrestling stuff in your life. Number 5. Triple H made Jeff Hardy a single star. Much was made of the vicious beatdown Triple H and Steve Austin dished out to the Hardys and Lita on Raw in early April. Lita taking some steel chair shots was an understandably sensitive topic at the time, but Team Extreme would get revenge days later on SmackDown courtesy of Jeff Hardy. Hunter's part in all of this should not be overlooked too. Jeff beat Trips for the Intercontinental title on the 12th of April SmackDown. Despite being formatted as a lengthy beatdown with a babyface comeback, Triple H showed some selflessness by presenting Hardy as a never-say-die kind of hero throughout the match. It worked and proved Jeff had it in him to be a single star. Some fans had been on the fence about that beforehand, largely because the Hardys had been such a popular unit. Splitting them up just seemed daft, but Jeff holding the IC belt for a few days proved to be a successful experiment, and precursor of things to come for him. You could say Hunter gave Jeff a foot up the ladder that night. Number 4. 6 of the TLC 3 crew still wrestle. What crosses your mind when you think of TLC 3? Chris Benoit's grim story is a likely sticking point for many when they ponder sitting down to watch it again, which is fair enough really. Something completely different popped into this fan's head though. How many of those involved still wrestle today? Edge, Christian, Chris Jericho and both Hardy brothers all work in AEW, and they're all very much still an important part of weekly pro wrestling TV. Meanwhile, Bubba Ray Dudley still wrestles too, and occasionally pops up as a WrestleMania special guest referee. That's a staggering thought, not least upon viewing the car crash bumps. These guys are lucky they can even walk in 2024, let alone work high-quality matches. The third TLC bout has always stuck out as odd compared to the first pair. It happened on free-to-air programming for a start, but also added a fourth team into the mix for even more mayhem. Shoot back to the 24th of May 2001 episode if you fancy checking it out. You will not be disappointed, folks. Number 3, there's a hardcore match you need to see. You will not be let down by this cracker either. The Rock and Rob Van Dam had another scorcher on Raw about a month or so before this one. Both are definitely well worth seeing, but choose the 25th of October SmackDown offering if you like the quirky flavor of seeing Rocky challenge for the lowly hardcore title. That did not happen every day, you know. Van Dam, like Booker T before him, had quickly settled into life as a WWF star. By October, people were calling for him to become a permanent headliner, and bouts like this one show exactly why. RVD's unique style captivated fans, and he was helped by top names like The Rock selling hard for him. Interesting combos like Rock versus RVD is why binging on SmackDown's 2001 lineup is honestly a proper treat to look forward to. Who doesn't want to see The Rock take a Van Daminator or 6A? Both of these guys are absolutely one of a kind. Number 2, how did they keep a straight face? Comedy can fall flat in wrestling. Some, like Santino Marella or The Rock, did/do it incredibly well. Others, well, not so much. So the WWF was running a risky play by sticking a freshly turned heel Steve Austin on TV alongside Kurt Angle and having them act like Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly in Step Brothers. Add Vince McMahon into the equation mid-WCW invasion, and you had a possible recipe for disaster. Almost unbelievably though, Austin experienced a new lease of life as a guitar-playing, gift-giving goof who caused his wife Deborah to sigh and eye-roll weekly. And Deborah deserves a special mention too, because she was often the voice of reason grounding these skits. Nobody cracked once, not even once. Lord only knows how everyone managed to keep a straight face when Angle put on his tiny cowboy hat and bickered with Austin about everything under the damn sun. It was hilarious stuff, and helped feed into Kurt's babyface turn to boot. Number 1, it's easy to forget all of Austin's turns. As this entry title suggests, it's pretty easy to forget many of the story beats following Austin's heel turn at WrestleMania X7. Technically, Steve Austin turned no less than 4 times that year. He went from babyface to heel at Mania, heel to baby before Invasion, baby to heel at Invasion, then eventually returned to being an anti-hero again by the end of 2001. It was exhausting to keep up as creatives stumbled around. Seeing Austin don WCW t-shirts and come out to that less energetic, disturbed entrance theme is flat out strange looking back. It's understandable that Stone Cold had to move with the times and all, but fans still weren't done rooting for him and didn't know what to make of him sporting WCW colours. This was not what most live crowds wanted from Austin at all. The WWF didn't seem convinced by any of it either, which must be why they flip-flopped Steve between baby Sabian heel and vice versa way too many times throughout that year. What a strange old time, eh? Have you enjoyed this Things You Learn binge watching every WWE SmackDown from 2001 list? Then check out this Things You Didn't Know About WWE in 2001 video too. It's a belter. Bye bye.